Hey, we are live.
All
Welcome
right,
to
how you
t.w.i.c,
doing?
everybody. This week in Childfree, my name is LeNora Faye. I am one of the co-founders of Childfree Media.
And I'm Cody Hetzel. I'm the other co-founder of Childfree Media, and we thought this might be a fun little segment to start and start trying, and just take a look at like what's kind of going on out in the sphere of the world of what people are talking about within the child free space, what people are talking about the child free space from the outside looking in, and just maybe cover some topics and stories that are out there. Maybe you've read them, maybe you haven't, but just kind of seeing what's out there. And I don't know, we'll see what happens.
We don't prepare this ahead of time,
No,
Cody.
this is
Okay, first
totally
of all,
blind.
we just skimmed a few, but we really don't know what these articles say. So first of all, how are you finding these pieces that we're going to be talking about?
So I just setting up some basic Google alerts, so anyone can do that. Just set up an alert for like child free or whatever, and see what it filters through. And there's some hit and misses depending on how the word child free is used and defined, whether it's spaced or if it's talking about child free from empty nesters point of view, which isn't something that I would necessarily want to cover. But yeah, Lenore is exactly right. We have not. Really gone through any of these. I just saw the headlines and thought they looked interesting, so we snagged them. And this is live. If you're watching this after the 21st of December, then this is going to be pre-recorded and archived or in podcast form. So we'll do our best to summarize what the article says and give basically like a like our live raw review of what it's talking about, because that could be fun too. So if you're tuning in live, you can join us in chat. You can put a comment out there, and it says Lenore and I tonight, so we'll do our best to pay attention to the comment section,
Mhm.
and if add to it, yeah. If there's something that you want to add, we're here for it. So, um,
All right, so should we get
with no
started?
further ado, let's give this a go. So, first one I found, it is on abc.net.au. So this is from Australia. ABC Every Day, how climate change is impacting people's decision to have kids in different ways. Um, and
So
this is by Kelly Scott.
okay, just based on the title alone, this is always an interesting discussion because I think we've said it in previous conversations. If people are choosing not to have kids due to climate change, is that child free by circumstance? I'm just going to
Mm.
start with something
I
controversial
mean, let's
as
let's
thought right
dive in
now.
with that. Well, I mean, but it's still a choice. You're still choosing
It
to not
is.
have the child, and so I guess it depends on what level of like child free gatekeeping someone wants to have. Whereas
Right.
you must be basically unable to have a kid by choice, basically sterilized. You've chosen sterilization for yourself,
Hmm.
and that might be their definition. So they may not accept someone who says, "Well, I don't do it for the climate change or for financial reasons or whatever," because
Right.
that is, I guess, maybe an
Well, it's
exterior
circumstantial.
motive. Yeah,
Yeah.
circumstantial. Yeah.
Because if
So
the climate were fine, would you have kids? And
still no, but yeah, I guess this article wouldn't exist, I guess. But yeah, that's a
Okay,
great question to look
right?
at.
Okay,
So,
let's start off. Let's just start off by like nitpicking things. All right. So what's the summary? Okay, we're
all
just gonna
right.
summarize the article
And I have
probably.
another screen over here, so sorry if I'm not looking at the screen of
Okay,
the camera. But
you have to make eye
so
contact at all
I'm just
times.
gonna maybe give some synopsis, because I don't want to read the whole thing
No.
because nobody wants to hear me do that. So basically, it's Australia's fertility rate is falling, as it is in a lot of countries around the world. One of the many reasons people are choosing to have fewer children or none at all is the concern for climate change. And what they did here is, I guess they interviewed a couple of people about how the potential future of the climate has influenced their decision. So we have
Hmm.
someone named Jonathan, and well, this
Who
withheld their
ne-
names. Jonathan. So,
who never
um,
felt the strong biological urge to have children? Okay. Um, it was environmental concerns that really cemented. See, this is interesting. Okay, sorry, I should read
yeah,
so
yeah,
people
no,
know what we're
go
talking about.
ahead.
It was environmental concerns that really cemented his decision to remain child free. So just basically on what I said before, without reading it further, it's some of us, and this is my experience. never felt the pull to motherhood or parenthood, right? And then things happen throughout the course of one's life, circumstances, beyond our control. It's kind of like, oh, yeah, this is the final nail on the pronatalist coffin. Like, I don't want to go
Yeah,
down this route, right?
yeah. Well, I guess in one way, it says cements the decision in his words there. But yeah, he was already at the state where he didn't really feel like he wanted to be a dad.
Mhm.
So he maybe he needed another reason as well
Right.
to basically come out as child free and say, hey, look, I'm child free not only for myself but for others as well, for
Mhm.
the environment, for the kids that will exist in the future. You're welcome that my kid isn't there as well. But I don't know, again, I haven't really read this, so but that great pickup there. So and well, just to take a step back, climate change is one of those topics where you've got people who believe in climate change and people who don't believe in climate
Right.
change. So
Right.
that could totally like invalidate someone's reason to not have kids if someone's like, well,
Mhm.
climate change isn't really happening or it's naturally occurring the way it's supposed to or
Yeah.
whatever's out there, whatever argument they want to give you on, you should have kids. Don't let climate change stop you, I guess, would be the take
Right.
of that
Right.
individual.
They also
But
use that in the finance department. I mean, sorry, not the finance department, but for financial reasons. It doesn't matter if you don't have any money. Have kids anyway.
yeah,
By
yeah.
the way,
Well, if you
I
go
feel
ahead.
like I should clarify that we're not gatekeeping. Like, any reason, like, you don't want to have, for anyone listening or watching, any reason you don't want to have kids is fine.
Yeah.
I'm
No. Oh, yeah.
just to
We're just
clarify that.
this is just stuff we pulled off the internet, and we're just reacting to it.
Mhm.
And so anyway, um, so let's see. The latest climate of the nation report shows Australians have become more worried about the effects of climate change, with 75% of respondents concerned about the impact. And that number is higher to 84% amongst the 25 to 34 year olds. So people are concerned.
Mhm.
And let's see, Jonathan, who works in HR, says while it's easy to get into an argy bargy over the corporate responsibility versus
This is
individual. Wait a minute.
Australia.
First off, Australia, what is argy bargy? If you're out there, please. I don't know what that means. I get the gist of what it is, but I've never heard it. So basically, is it the corporation's responsibility or an individual's responsibility in regard to climate change?
Mhm.
And that, in a way, maybe from the corporate standpoint, there are some people who've come out that run large corporations that say you should have lots of kids because the world needs it or whatever.
Mhm.
But of course, they're vested in their corporations. They need consumers.
Right.
Um, and this should almost be a spur, whether they believe in climate change or not. They should do everything they can to help the planet, because if there are people that, as this Jonathan person says, this cemented his decision to not have a child because of climate change. Well, maybe if that wasn't a factor, maybe he would feel safe of having a child. I believe Miley Cyrus has come out and said something along those lines where unless she
Mhm.
feels that her children will get like clean air and clean water, she's not going to have kids. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of like, she's holding her children hostage from the world. So unless
You know,
everything is made better.
along the lines of incentives, so I live in Western Canada in the province of Alberta, and they have introduced some kind of climate incentive rebate. So when we all file our taxes, we get some money back, or we get some money. But the thing is they award people who have kids as well. So I'm a single income person, or I'm a solo person. So, I file my taxes, I get one climate incentive, whatever they call it. And my brother, who's got two children, gets more money because he has two kids. And I think, hey, they should pay triple for me because I am not having children. I am actually, going to say
Th-
doing more if we're
yeah,
going that with this conversation, because I'm not having children. You should pay me more money because
that's the
my,
other side of the
you
argument. But
know,
then, pronatalism is going to hammer that down. Like
well,
that's not going to happen.
my,
So
my point is, how serious are people?
yeah,
How serious is this conversation where they would support people who don't have children?
yeah.
And not even people, like, like, my reason for not having kids has nothing to do with the climate, but inadvertently it helps. So,
Yeah.
but it's never part of the conversation. I think of our lovely prime minister who's all about, I'm gonna not aiding climate change, but preventing climate change, whatever. Canada, it's freaking cold right now. We're like sub-zero temperatures. It's freezing. My furnace is running nonstop right now for days because it's so cold. But that's never but not having children is never part of the conversation.
Mhm.
So I'm actually happy to see articles like this. I don't know what actually I wanted to know, are there comments underneath this article? Though
We'll get to it.
that's
That's a
actually
good.
where the fun part is the comments to see what people think.
Speaking of comments, join us.
Yeah, I was
Even
gonna, do you
even
have
even when
any?
this is archived, feel free to throw comments out there. But my thought with this little statement about is it corporate or individual is that if corporations want to keep like passing it along and not taking it serious to do anything,
Mhm.
'cause, I mean, what does it hurt to do something better for the environment anyway?
Right.
But if you're potentially losing compounding future customers because people won't have kids because of the way the environment is. So it only helps the corporations to do better for the environment because then people wouldn't feel as either indifferent or against having children
Mhm.
because of potential climate change that's happening.
Right.
So corporate world, pay attention. If you want more customers in the future, do better. I guess.
Cody, you're a child-free guy promoting people having kids right now.
Well, I'm just
In
saying
a roundabout
for
way.
well, I guess you could say that, yeah, but for corporations, I mean, it's kind of a wake up call because they
Yeah.
don't pay attention to us anyway as child free people for the most part.
Right.
They're not interested in our marketing dollars, even though we are a huge demographic
Mhm.
worldwide. So until we're taken seriously and they see either the benefit of us becoming customers or the potential loss of losing customers that are never born, then they might pay more attention to the issues that we care about, which
Yeah.
is us and the environment and whatever it might be. So I don't know. Food for thought. Let's see. Um, let's see. I'm just trying to scroll
Is
through
he the only
here.
one that they interview?
No, let's jump down. So, okay, we've got
Oh,
Emma, and there's a
interesting.
baby. So let's find out about this person. So we've got Emma Barnett Johnson, mom of one, environmental scientist. Emma Barnett Johnson has spent years studying climate and says the rate at which we're experiencing change is alarming. So this is someone who is a scientist, studies this for a living, and they're a parent, and they are concerned. Very cool.
Hmm.
Um,
I'm scrolling down for a
yeah.
second. So she says her insights into global warming. I mean, the decision to have a baby wasn't an easy one for her. That's interesting.
Mhm.
My biggest fear about having children was not wanting to leave them in a world where there is increasingly volatile climate, so it's tiny from here, and with governments unwilling to act on it. Yeah, so I mean, to your
Yeah.
point about that,
Yeah,
if
if governments aren't going to care and corporations aren't going to care, then the individual will start to care. And this
mhm,
is a great example. Like you're just kind of joking. It's like I'm saying to have kids, it might stop people from having more than one kid. Like they
right,
might be like, look, I can take care
right,
of this one kid. I'm gonna roll the dice with that.
mhm.
But having more than one, maybe not. So
And I like this in the sense that they're thinking about it. I don't I am, a child-free advocate. I advocate for the lifestyle, but it's more
mhm,
choice awareness is the bottom line
yeah,
of everything that interests me and motivates me. It's a choice. So it is nice to see that people think about it. If they choose to have a kid,
mhm,
that's their choice. But thinking about beyond themselves, you know, just because I
yeah,
want a baby. It,
yeah,
it's nice to see, and I
yeah,
think that also needs to be highlighted too.
yeah.
Which, yeah,
Emma says she has a lot of admiration for people who don't want to have children, including those with the environment in mind. And then she's quoted as, "It's a selfless act. Thank you. Overpopulation will cripple us eventually. Unstable. Uh, it's unstable long term."
mhm,
So yeah, so that's cool. Thanks for being a child-free ally. We appreciate that.
we do.
And so
Comments?
let's see if we can get to some
Let's see.
comments past no
No,
comment
what
section.
comments are the most fun thing about articles
Come
because
on,
then you get
abc.net.au. Give us some comments here. Anyway, all right, let's go to the next topic. So we've
All
got
right.
Board
Ooh.
Panda, which a lot of people are familiar with. So mom asks if she's a jerk for asking child-free coworker to withdraw her Christmas holiday request. I mean,
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
so if you're just tuning in, we haven't, this is all like live and raw. We haven't read any of this stuff in advance. We just
No.
found the topics and we're like, well, this sounds interesting for what we're doing, which is This Week in Child Free, which is just kind of covering topics that have happened within the last week or so out there and discussing them live and letting people join us in the conversation. Oh, wait. Oh, we've got a comment.
Do we?
Yeah, it is. Let's see. Our friend Marcella, Child Free
Marcella.
Millennial. So
Hey.
glad I made it to your live. Super good article. And even though climate change isn't a main reason why I'm not child free, it's a very valid reason. So thank you for the input there. Oh, wait, we got another one.
Tabitha.
Yeah. So Tabitha, as we were talking about the government taxes, it says, shoot, we get taxed more when we don't have kids. LOL. Yeah, for sure. So
we do.
All right, so let's talk about Board Panda's article here. So it says basically this mom wants to take Christmas Day off, so she's asked her child-free coworker to cover her shift. That sounds very familiar in a lot of the forums and child-free Facebook groups that I'm in. But the woman has already planned to spend it with her family. So the child-free person says, hey, I might not have a child per se, but I do have, family or friends that they want to spend the holiday with.
Family is more than just children, FYI, in case you don't know.
It says, okay, I read this whole thing. Oh, this looks long. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, here we go. So she says, okay, I feel terrible about this, but me and my colleague, who I get on quite well, normally have both requested Christmas off, but our manager said that only one of us can have it. So it's going to be a fight to the death. I'm adding that last part. That's not real. I've asked her to withdraw her request as she and her husband have no kids and normally go to her husband's parents on Christmas Day, but they also go every week. So it's not like they never see them. Whereas I, on the other hand, have a 4-year-old autistic son. He normally goes to nursery, but his nursery closes 1 week before Christmas and doesn't open until next year. The shift in question is a 3-hour shift between 7 and 10. Doesn't say AM or PM. I'm going to guess AM. It does in the morning. Yeah. Sorry. Let me finish. Learn to read, Cody. So she and her husband could still be at his parents for lunchtime, whereas because I'm a single mama and the nurseries are closed, I have no one to watch my son. It does keep going. Oh, this is long. So yes, I could pay someone else. Blah, blah, blah. Let's do some scrolling.
Okay.
So she had a story. It was going viral, I guess. So here we are. So this is
these are the comments. Okay.
This is the original poster. It says OP. Is that the original poster?
Yeah.
So
well, okay. Let's talk about what was just read because there's a lot of I hate using the word triggering, but I mean, in the context of things, I mean, I see both sides. I'm always a moderator, even in real life. Like I'm always in the middle. I go, okay, I can see your side. I can see your side. No one's right or wrong. It's tricky. As a child-free person, I do get a little like when people start bringing out, well, because I have a kid, or thinking of my child-free autistic friends who talk about how that is used a lot because you add on more words to describe your child, and suddenly it's like, well, then you're supposed to feel like an a-hole because you don't cater to somebody else. It's tough because again, I see both sides, but when people start piling on their child and what their child's going through, and is all these things that again are valid, but what is it saying?
Yeah,
that our time, our experience with our family
is less valuable.
Exactly. And that's where I have the problem with it.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't say she's a jerk for this, but it's how it's presented, and the conversation is, it's respecting people's time, like, and how, I have to formulate my thought a little better on that, but it's,
well, I mean, it really, to me, it just from like, a black and white paper perspective, it's like, well, what does your job require for taking time off? Was she the first person that put in for the time off? And I maybe I skipped it, but um, I mean, is it seniority?
Mhm.
Using the child as leverage. I mean,
I think
I
that
again, I
that's
get
it,
it.
yeah.
I get it. Like, and I see her standpoint as well, where the mom is saying, "Well, look, like this person, the coworker, we get along well," and she sees his family all the time, and that's where they're going anyway. So it's like this is just another weekend for them
Mhm.
versus like it being a special holiday. So but for her and her son, she has a hardship because she has no one to watch the kid.
Right.
So
Right, and
yeah, I mean, we're not monsters as child free people. We're
no.
compassionate. We get it. I mean, yeah, it's a tough call. Um, but I'm not their manager to make that decision for them, I guess.
Well,
But
look, the manager didn't even wanna make the
that's
decision.
true. It's like y'all,
She's
you
like, "You
figure it
guys
out.
figure it out." So, I mean, okay, look, I mean, if it were me, I'm gonna say I would say, "All right, let's trade off somewhere. You owe me a massive, massive favor." Um, but still, there's more of a discussion that needs to that needs to happen because that it doesn't end there. I think that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing that irks me. Okay, I feel that there will be situations where yes, let the parent have whatever they're asking for. But there's a bigger discussion of entitlement, and I'm not saying this mom feels entitled. It seems to be presented, she's presenting both cases,
Yeah.
but there's this level of expectation and entitlement in general in situations like this, where it's like, oh, of course, let the parent go first, or let the parent do this, or like, because what is the underlying thing? Is that our time is not valuable? Our vacation, like our requests, are not as valuable
Mhm,
as child-free people or people without children, whether it's
mhm,
by circumstance or choice. And that's not addressed enough because and so the more this happens, the more stories we see like this. And the fact that, look, obviously it's a story, it's an article, so there is something to this. It's not just, oh, whatever, let it go.
yeah.
There's something going on. People need to talk about it, but it can make us look like a-holes for saying no, don't let the parent have the day off or whatever,
Mhm. And
you
it's not an
know?
unfamiliar scenario that comes up
No.
someone with a child basically saying, "Well, you don't have a child, so I deserve this weekend off, or I deserve this different shift, or whatever it might be."
Right.
So
I mean,
yeah.
the other thing, and okay, let me use my words carefully, or maybe I don't have to. It's sob stories. It's okay. When people are asking for donations, especially around this time of year, Christmas time, it's presented like a guilt thing. You have so many things, give a little bit. These people are suffering. And not that that's not happening, but charity is run on fear and guilt. It's like you're guilting somebody into feeling bad, therefore they're going to give you what you're asking them to give. And I just find I don't necessarily have a sob story. I could make something into a sob story, I'm sure, but I've never operated that way. And so I just humans were so we're so easily swayed by feeling guilty or tragedy.
Mhm.
This
Well,
is
there
probably
are.
going down a whole other rabbit hole that we
Well,
don't have time for,
I
but
know.
this is
Well,
something that I think about, and
yeah.
something like this fits that category where I'm going, it's not in her request is not invalid, but it also shows how this person who's, the child-free person in this scenario is going to think, well, oh geez, like now I feel bad. Okay, I'm going to, but that's going to make them, I don't think that's going to make them feel any better, because then that's taking away from their plans as well. And the whole point is every plan, like there's equality, and that's what's missing. But then
Mhm.
when we're presented with some kind of tragic sob story, whatever, we kind of go, okay,
Yeah. Well,
does that make me sound heartless?
let me flip the script. So, what if it's two parents? Like then is it tit for tat of like which
Right.
parent is more deserving, which child needs to see their grandparents more? Like,
Which has the which has the bigger sob story.
if we remove ourselves from the equation as child-free people, like this could be,
Good point.
anyone in this scenario.
Right.
And then as far as like charities go, what you just mentioned, of guilt and stuff, there are people that do just want to just openly give to charity, and it just comes down to timing. And so if
Mhm.
if they hear the right story at the right time, that's where they're going to give the money to for,
Right.
that donation or
Right.
whatever. But all right, well, we got a bunch of articles here. I'm going to
I like that
continue
question
on.
about if it were two parents, what would happen? To me, it'd be like whoever has the strongest sob story, which I totally disagree with.
It could be, yeah.
But
I mean,
I think that's an episode or therapy I need to go work through. I don't know.
It's going to be awkward in the break room. That's all I know.
Again, the manager didn't want to make that decision. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
We should interview the manager. I mean, that would be a person. Like, so
if you are the manager of this person, let us know. So this is from heart.co.uk. So this is from the UK, and the saying mom gives that away almost. Mom splits opinions after asking child-free colleague to work on Christmas Day shift. Is this the same story?
One.
I don't think
well,
it is.
This is another childcare person. I wonder. This is the same article.
Is it?
How many articles did this person? Okay, what's going on here? This person got 2 articles on the same topic.
They got picked up.
What,
all right, anyway.
What did she do? Did she go around to like reporters? Sorry, I'm not picking on the mom.
No,
this is funny.
Yeah, this is the same story.
It's the same
let's
thing.
see. Well, let's see if this one wrote it any different. Let's just go to the end. Then it just goes in. Basically, I think all these come off of like Reddit, and so
one person argued that the issue should have been dealt by the employer. Your manager really needs to deal with this. But both of your requests ought to be put in and should be considered each. Lazy management, if you ask. Or lazy management to ask you to decide amongst yourselves.
Well, but again, it comes down to also the office politics.
Right.
It's who puts in first, who has the time, seniority. It all weighs in. So, like, did this child-free person have any of those types of leverages from the company side of things where they were going to get the day off regardless, and this person might be asking them for it? So, I don't know. So we'll just jump to the next story here. This is
the same article.
No, different one. So this is from the Sun. .co.uk. So the Sun. A mom of 3 savaged for claiming having kids is overrated and warning her childless friends not to bother with it.
Okay, first thing, they use childless, not child-free, but we'll talk about that later. Okay.
Well, probably. So yeah, I can see where this is going. Yeah, if you come out against the group think, the echo chamber, you're probably going to get drugged for it. And it's not just parents. That happens in any large group that you're in. It happens in the child-free space as well. So this depends on the topic and what people want to.
I think it's great that this is an article too. I want to know if there's comments in there. Oh, TikTok. She's a TikTok mom.
TikToker. So let's see. She took to TikTok and would warn her child-free friends not to bother with having the kids. Let's see. This is from.
Can I comment? They use childless in the headline, but child-free in the body of.
Oh, they did.
Article.
Yeah, they did. Okay. Child-free friends.
I think it shows that
yes, childless and child-free are totally different mindsets and lifestyles. So,
but too, it just shows that people recognize childless more so than child-free. That's my.
Well, and I wonder too if that is part of like the clickbait type of editing where it's more grabbing to say childless versus child-free at the top. Who knows? So this is from Sarah Duffy. I guess you can click on this and go to her TikTok. She's from the US. Replied to a video of a woman bragging about choosing not to be a mom. Sarah couldn't argue more with the sentiment, despite having 3 kids herself. She said, "Listen, I have 3 kids of my own. First one, an accident. Second one, an accident. Third one, an accident." Again, we haven't read any of this stuff.
Okay,
I haven't seen the TikTok.
I've got a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, she says, "I love my children. I can't explain it. I would literally die for them in a heartbeat." She added, yeah, I know. Where's the but? She added that she couldn't imagine her life without them. However, she quickly warned other child-free, there's child-free again, versus the headline, women not to do it. And men, warn the men too. What's up? Give us a help here. Don't do it. Don't do it. I just got a notification on my phone that my bank account was overdrafted. I mean, that's poor financial planning. Don't blame that on the kids. So
child-free people have overdraft too, so
yeah, we're not all like rolling in jet skis on top of money. She added their why. So basically she blames her kids. Like, did her kids get their credit card and start rolling up some debt? Like, what's going on?
Well, look, you don't know how much diapers cost or anything.
I don't technically. Yeah. But no, I get
believe
it.
it.
I'm just
You're just
kind of jokingly saying she's
okay.
blaming her children for this when again,
I'd blame my
I
kids
mean,
too. But anyway,
um, so let's see. The video's gone viral. Of course it has.
okay.
5 million views. And people got on there, slammed the mom for being open about how difficult it. Wait, they slammed her for being honest about how difficult having kids
Oh,
while
jeez.
others praised her honesty, which I can guess which
I mean
side did both.
that alone, okay, just people getting mad for her being honest again speaks to part of the problem we're dealing with pronatalism. They don't want the truth to come out, right?
Yeah.
Because I think and I'll just getting personal for a second, like my brother and I have done a podcast about his experience being a parent. His oldest has listened to that podcast and understands it's not about him, but about, his arrival and whatnot. And he understands why people
Yeah.
don't want to have kids. Like honesty is not easy, but the fact that people don't want child-free people to talk about their happiness. People don't want to hear parents say, "Yeah, it sucks sometimes," because they want more people. Actually, it's probably pretty personal because then they're going, "Well, wait a sec. This makes my decision to have kids. Not it doesn't invalidate it, but it, you know,
Well,
kind of maybe. I don't
well,
know."
and like it's talking about, basically she's getting dragged by, I would guess, a lot of parents,
Mm,
and that's where like to the people that are parents out there, like child free people, like a lot of times we kind of are your sounding board because we get it. Like we understand, yeah, it's hard. That's why a lot of us chose not to do it. Like
right.
we totally have gone through all of those scenarios, like to the nth degree. And we've said, yeah, like like the financial reasons. Yeah, we know. And so, to help avoid that possible issue or pitfall, not having kids, like,
Mhm.
the climate change and being worried about that and losing sleep, not having kids, something happening to your kid, and this the fear and dread, like every day your kid's not in your eyesight, not having kids. So
I just
um
got back from a funeral for an infant.
mm,
So, yeah.
yeah.
I just saw those comments. Okay, so you said make sure your children ever hear this rant. And then the other part of it is that comment says my mother never wanted us and we knew it. So, you know, I don't think I don't think parents have to say to their kid, I didn't want this. They feel it anyway.
Mhm.
It's like, but
Yeah.
also there was one the other comment, the second comment said, "So I ruined my life," is what you're saying, which makes me wonder if they're a parent going, "Wait, are you saying that then I ruined my life because I had kids as well?" It's so curious how people. I mean, it's TikTok, and this
Yeah.
kind of goes along with all social media. When people leave comments, you don't know where they're coming from in their life experience, and that's when I really want to find out. I'm like, so where are you coming from
Yeah.
with the comment that you just left?
Yeah.
I find like the people that are at peace with their life are the ones that saying that say as a single mom don't have the children. Like they're okay. It's not easy, and they're willing to say, yeah, like don't do it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um honestly, oh no, I read that wrong. It's overrated. It wasn't talking about she's talking about the kids.
Yeah.
Oh, and then of course, do it the best thing I ever did. They make my life
Yeah.
better every day. Great, cool.
Well, and it's kind of like a common thread between both child-free people and parents, where they
Mhm.
almost have to preemptively explain, "I love kids," but like just like this one,
Right.
it's like, "I love my kids, but don't do it." And child-free people a lot of times feel like they have to like say, "Hey, I love kids. I just don't want to have kids." Like it's I don't know.
Yeah.
So we've got that in common, parents. Like we're pronatalism. Go get it. All right. Anyway, next topic. This is from, I don't even know what this is. Mercado.net something. I don't know. Anyway, shrinking American motherhood. 1 in 6 women in their 40s have never given birth. And so ambiguous there if that is child free or childless. The little subheading here, it says, what are the impacts of remaining child free? So that maybe they're looking at maybe one of these 1 in 6 or something will have kids. I don't know. So we'll see. This is by Wendy Wang. Thank you, Wendy, for doing this. Haven't read it at all. I like graphs and I love numbers. I like that kind of stuff. So anyway,
You know what's sad is I
um,
now fall into the 40 to 44 category. What?
So let's see. More U.S. women are skipping motherhood today. In 2020, 1 in 6 women reached the end of their childbearing years, had never
People are
given
having
birth.
kids in their 50s and
Yeah.
adopting in their 50s. I feel like I still have another 15 years of bingos ahead of me.
So yeah, I
But
mean that just pausing right there. I mean, like data, it's hard to quantify because like that it's circumstantial. Like when is
mhm.
the end of childbearing years for women? Like so I guess they're just basically saying when you hit 40, you're less apt to choose to have children. And so maybe that's what they're going with. I don't know. Let's continue. I'm just jumping ahead here. Um, this share was lower in the share was lower in 2016 when 14% of women ages 40 to 44 had never given birth.
Okay.
Okay. At the same time, the share of women who had 2 or more children declined from 32% in 16 to 30% and to 2% in 2020. So in 4 years, it went down 2% of having like multiple kids. Again,
Yeah, but
don't.
also what happened in 2020? Like were people
Yeah, just
2020 was kind of a crazy year for a lot of the
personally, whenever
world.
I see any statistics that mention 2020, I can't really take it serious because it is
Exactly.
skewed. Like it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, the murder rate went down. Of course, nobody left their house. Like you, 2019 and 2021. Those are the only two you
Mhm.
can compare. 2020 didn't happen. Like this disappeared.
Which actually they kind of
Um,
talk about later, further down here, but
yeah. So let's see the rise of the childless woman. So now we're talking about childless is in line with the downward trend in U.S. fertility in recent years. In 2020, amid COVID-19 pandemic, here we go, the U.S. birth rate fell to a record low of 1.6 children per woman, even though the rate rebounded slightly in 21 to 1.7 children per woman. So, okay.
so
Um,
they need the replacement level to be 2.1
yes, to
per
actually
woman.
replace,
Okay.
yeah, because 2.0 is replacing, but that's it. It needs to be 2.1
Right,
for
right.
growth. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Okay.
Um, let's see.
Huh.
So now they're breaking it down by some demographics here. So which women are more likely to skip motherhood? And this is in the percentage of women ages 40 to 44 who have never given birth. So that could be childless or child free. Um, I don't know what all at 17
I guess the total of everybody,
of
I'm
everybody.
assuming.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So percentage of women. So all women is at 17%. So percentage of women that are white, 19, that are black, 17%, Hispanic, 9%, Asian, 16%.
Hmm.
High school educated or less, 13%. Some college, 14%. College or more, 20%. So the
That
more
goes with
education
yeah.
that what a lot of people say is that the more educated a society is, the less overall children that society has.
Mhm.
They're married is at 9%. They're divorced, separated, or widowed at 13%, or they never married at 48%. So nothing mind
I
blowing
mean,
with those stats
that
really
one
either. But
that one's interesting because so many people and I am curious then with the never married is that are they child free by choice or by circumstance? Because the
yeah,
narrative is if you're not married, you're just not going to have kids because that's still pretty common. That thought is still pretty common. I'm going to say even where I live in Canada, like it's still if you're unmarried, no one really bothers well, not no one bothers you about not having kids, but it's not as expected. Like if I were to get married, then even at this age, people would be like, "Oh, so when are you going to have kids cuz you're married now, right?" But I've never been married. So,
mm,
whatever. Um and that's not even just from a religious standpoint. So I'm curious as to that because that's the highest number of the entire chart. So I'm wondering if that falls in childless because they were never married.
well, and that was my initial thought. I was like, well, nothing there surprised me because it kind of makes sense, like the percentage of. But I mean, I don't know. In a way, maybe some of the numbers should be. I don't know. We'll have to
Yeah,
dive into
it's
this
yeah.
later. Maybe we'll come back and like review all this at another time. But people that are native born in the U.S. is at 19% percentage of women, and foreign born are 10% of
Mm,
the women.
okay. And this study was
Um,
done in 2020. Okay.
yeah. So, oh god, motherhood and happiness. Here we go.
Oh,
So,
plug your ears, everybody. Just kidding.
the number one clickbaity article you'll find on the
Oh,
internet with child free is who's happier.
mhm.
Anyway, so let's see what it says. children bring enormous joy to their parents, not compared to the last TikToker, but also more responsibilities and less me
Me
time.
time.
The relationship between
Okay.
parenthood and happiness is indeed complicated. Early research has shown that parents tend to be less happy than non parents, and parenthood is linked to a lower quality of life. But recent data points to a different direction. Moreover, parents were happier than non-parents during COVID-19 pandemic. Really, and their lives were less lonely and more meaningful. Okay, I can see the less lonely because you've got someone around you all the time, but
Lonely doesn't mean, but less lonely doesn't mean happiness. Like, again, and I say this maybe as an introvert who likes to be alone a lot, having a lot of people around you doesn't necessarily make me happy. I like it,
yeah.
for a time, but this, I'm a little suspicious of that
Well,
sentence,
and
but okay, whatever.
maybe it was like the echo chambers that I was in. It seemed like the total opposite. It seemed like people without kids were like, "Thank goodness I don't have kids.
Yes.
COVID-19 is bad enough, but at least I just have to worry about myself first off." They're definitely the loneliness factor and meaningful. I guess I can see where
The,
they're getting that
I have
for
a
it,
problem
but
with the more meaningful thing.
yeah, that's an opinion. And
That absolutely.
yeah, but anyway,
Okay.
so let's keep going. Um, let's see. Let's look at this little graph here. Women's happiness by marital and parental status at different
Ooh,
ages.
okay. All
So this
right.
percent says very happy. So if they're 18 to 34, married with children, 30% say they're very happy. If they're 35 to 54% married with children, 28% say they are very happy. And
Okay.
55% married with children, only 25% say they are very happy. So that's a downward trend.
Wow.
That's interesting
Wow. Okay.
because,
Married with
well,
children. Okay.
because that's that's not what society tells us. They
No.
basically say as you get older, like it becomes easier, I guess, as the parent because your kids are older, they can have better conversations, you can do more fun things with them. And then like the whole like looking forward to the grandbabies if that's going to happen for you comes. So I find it very interesting that
I'm gonna throw in my opinion of that
yeah.
decline. As a single woman, I'm in the 40 and up category. Um, I was having this conversation with my dad today. I'm like, I have had a lot of time to develop myself, to figure out who I am, how to express who I am. I've had a lot of time. Not that life has been always easy, but I'm at this age where I am very confident. I feel confident. I trust my intuition. But I've had a lot of time to develop that. And I
Mhm.
feel that, and again, this is just my opinion, but if I had raised children being the female, I would have, been the mom, been very invested. I wouldn't have had all that time to develop who I am. So when I'm, you know, again, and I have friends who are in that 55 plus category, they're just now starting to figure out. Some have a lot of grandkids, some don't, but they are figuring out who am I, because for the most part, a bulk of their adult life has been raising other humans. And so I'm just going to venture out and say that, you know, if you've been married with kids, you've always had someone to tend to. Have you had time to tend to yourself? And I think that may have something to do with decline in happiness, because suddenly they're like, oh crap, nobody needs me now. Now what? And
Great
that's
point.
very
Yeah.
scary.
Kind
Very scary to be in that
yeah.
situation.
Kind of
Right.
the empty nester syndrome. It's like
Yeah, exactly.
who am I and who is this person I live
Yeah,
with?
exactly.
So
So that's my opinion, but I feel strongly that that has something to do with that
yeah.
decline in happiness.
Yeah, people in the future comment on this. What are your thoughts?
Mhm.
Let's talk about the percentage of very happy people that are married, and it says childless. And so, anytime I see the term childless, it's tricky to understand the child-free aspect of it because to a child-free person, childless means that they want to have children in the future,
Mhm.
or are actively trying to have children, or they are unable to have kids and they are not considering themselves child free because
Right.
they still want a child. So this statistic is 18 to 34% for married, and childless is 33% are very happy, which is higher than with children.
Okay.
um, 35 to 54 married childless is 24%, which is lower than the married with children by 4% of 28, which is interesting. And that's where I wonder if it gets skewed with the childless aspect,
Yeah.
where they're trying. And when you hit that 35 plus threshold, it becomes more difficult.
Skipping ahead to the bottom numbers, I'm like, there's something amiss with
Yes.
this.
And so married and childless at 55 plus is dropped to 14% is very
Wow.
happy compared to the 25% of married people with children. But again, I feel like those numbers might be skewed by people who are truly childless and not child free, and in that sense. So,
That's
but anyway,
interesting.
yeah, it is interesting. But not unexpected, but the number disparity is interesting.
Yeah.
So this is unmarried people with children. So are they very happy? 18 to 34, 12%. And so the number would
Wow.
say not very much.
That's good.
And it only slightly goes down to 11% at 35 to 54. And then they just realize, hey, this is just how it is at 55 plus, and it's still 11%. So I guess it kind of hits
So children is okay. I'm looking at this as I'm kind of seeing like
so I've got a
that's
thought.
not like
So
children just are not happy or happy doesn't bring
well,
happiness. But
well,
I don't. Well, actually, no, that's not okay. Never mind.
unmarried with children, with it being a
Mhm.
much lower percentage than we've come across so far in this statistic, it's at 12%, 11%, and 11%. It almost seems like they've adapted to their situation, and that they've just maybe said, this is just how it is. And they're,
Right.
because they have to, if
Right.
they're a single parent, like it's nose to the grindstone. Like I get it as a child free
Yeah.
person. Like I feel for you. Like that's tough. And so,
Mm.
yeah, this whole quote unquote very happy. Yeah, you might not be very happy because you ain't got time to be happy. You gotta do a lot of stuff. So the unmarried people, and again, childless, this is interesting. The only 7% say they're very happy. 18 to 34-year-olds that are not
This
married and don't have kids. What? Anyway,
well,
okay.
okay.
But this is the only one that increases to
So low,
12% at 35 to 54. So it goes from
and then it
7%
drops.
to 12%, and then it drops back down to 10%.
Okay. Can I say something?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Do you remember being 18 to 20? Sorry. Do you remember being 18 to 34? That was a really hard time in life. I just feel like
I guess maybe like if
I
they're talking
think
about external effects of like struggling for like the job
well, yeah,
hopping,
like
like
that
the hustle is real.
first
Yeah.
of all, that's a huge gap. Second of all, okay, when people have children between that age of 18 and 34, you do have something to focus on. So you're just like constantly surviving and caring for somebody. But
Yeah.
when you're figuring out your own stuff and you have to look at yourself, especially between those ages, like most of us to the age of 30, that's a really hard time. Yes, we're kind of like go getter doing a thing, but I would never go back to that timeline. And so I really I think it's unfair to say, well, unmarried and childless, they're only 7% are happy. Who's really happy at 20 that doesn't involve alcohol or whatever else? Like it's a difficult time. And I say that as a 40-year
Yeah.
old now. Looking back, it's
Well,
not
you're
easy.
trying to
So
learn your way. Like it's
exactly.
there is no handbook. Like it's
Yeah.
trial and error a lot of instances.
I
But again, the statistics here, and it is I'm interested to know how they got this data, and it does have
right.
the source here. But so married and childless versus unmarried and childless is a huge difference
Mhm.
of 33% are very happy if they're married versus being unmarried and childless at 7%. So again, the childless definition comes into question there. But it's like, is it the loneliness factor of why these people are at
Right.
7% and not very, again, this is very happy. Like these people could be like
There's only
happy. Like,
30% that are very happy that have it all, quote unquote, all anyway, which is actually
yeah.
really low.
Well,
70% are not
Well,
very happy.
it could also be like using the term very happy over happy. If you're just like, hey, are you happy as an unmarried, childless person at, let's say, 25? They'll be like, yeah, I'm happy. Like, but it didn't make the number because, are you very
Right.
happy? Well,
Right.
I don't know. I guess not. So,
I mean, again, I'm just like, because you know what? Again, I don't know if you remember that age, but you're comparing, especially when your friends at 25 start getting married. They seem to have everything lined up, and they're following that life script. And it's like, oh well, I don't have that yet. I'm still
that's a great point. Like
right.
well, just the social pressure of what
Yeah.
people see online, like the hashtagging, the Instagramming, the Facebook, whatever, like showing your best life. And that's all you show is your best life. Yeah.
Right.
If you're competing against that, yeah, I can see how, as you're younger, you're more apt to not be as very happy as someone else. I don't know. So anyway, I'm doing a deep dive literally into this stupid little bar
Conspiracy
graph.
theory. I'm looking at
So
this as a conspiracy
let's
theory
move on.
here.
We'll move on. Let's move on to the next thing. I'm not going to dive more into this. We can't, if y'all, we can go into it later. So Chelsea Handler, who is out here defending child-free folks, and we're here for it. So this is from hellogiggles.com. And so she has if you don't know who Chelsea Handler is, she's a American comedian. And she has a new Netflix special that dives deeper into why she's opting for dogs over kids. So that's
By the
cool.
way, you don't need to have pets of any sort to have a happy life.
Well,
all the pet-free people.
Just again, since it's all like, I love the ad placement here of St. Jude's Children's Hospital in this. I don't know if they're going to get their bang for their buck with that marketing dollar, but again, it's not like we don't like kids. Like plenty of child-free people give their kids charities.
We got to point that out. You see diaper ads on.
It's like when we get like Facebook, it's full of diaper ads, and I think it's because it only like scrolls and trolls the word child. If you're in a child-free group, it's like, oh, you must have kids. It's like, no. So
I would laugh if they put a diaper ad on this replay of this.
They might. I don't know. Well, they have a clip for promoting the video. And there's no audio here, so I can't play it. So this person's just basically kind of plugging what's coming up, and I would suggest everybody, if you have Netflix, give it a watch. Find a way to watch it. See, thankfully, Chelsea Handler is here to say what the old schoolers don't want to hear, and this is her quote: "It's important to know when you don't have the skills to raise a baby." She starts in the teaser clip for the upcoming special. Instead of shaming people, we should say, "Oh, good for you for knowing you shouldn't have a baby." Like it only makes perfect sense. So
okay, I also have a problem with this.
Go for it.
I mean, okay, love Chelsea Handler. I love that she's speaking out about it. But again, this kind of speaks to along the lines of, because we get these comments on TikTok or wherever. It's like, oh, well, you shouldn't have, if you don't want to have a baby, don't have one. Great. But they also lump everybody in as, you don't have the skills to have a baby, so don't have one. Yeah. I have the skills to raise a baby. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but I am a very hands-on aunt, and I don't think I have a maternal instinct, but I care, and I'm I care for my nephew, stuff like that. I just don't like that stereotype that those of us who've chosen not to have children, the reason is because we don't have the skills. I don't think anyone has the skills. You just figure it out, you know? Like,
I mean, from what I see online, like 99% of parents say, look, you have no idea. You figure it out as you go. Like, because every kid's going to be different. Every family situation is going to be different. So you learn on the fly.
So I'm not knocking what she's saying in the sense that it's probably true, and that's maybe if that's what she believes, or maybe she says for comedic effect. Great, because we know we all know of parents who definitely shouldn't have kids, probably because they're not really equipped, or it's just not a good idea, but they have them anyway. But I don't like that assumption that all child-free people have no skill to raise the kids, or they'd be terrible at it, or whatever. So maybe I don't want to shame this statement, but at the same time, it does bother me.
I get what you're saying. So let's rewind it just 1 second and look at like her first sentence. She's talking about herself, and she's saying, I don't have the skills to raise a baby.
Right.
And so for child-free people who do say that say, hey, look, I'm just not equipped to, like, whether it's patience or whatever it might be, they know that they would not be a great parent. So not going to be a parent. So then maybe that's why she's saying, society. So don't come down on like all of us together. Like some people, they should be praised for not becoming a bad parent. Like that's another way to interpret what she's saying. And again, this could be a setup for a whole joke or so. I don't know. This is just a quote out of the special.
I guess for me, I'm defending of people that's like, I mean,
pigeonholing, like you don't want to get pigeonholed and be like, well, clearly you're not equipped to have a child, so you shouldn't because you're a terrible human being.
Like, I was like, wait, are you telling me that?
No.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, so Chelsea Handler, Netflix, check it out or don't check it out, whatever. You don't listen to me. All right. Thanks for the pop up here. This is the laprogressive.com. It says unsustainable population growth and pronatalist. And so the keyword I picked up in here was pronatalist. Thought it might be interesting to see what they were talking about.
Elon Musk. Okay.
So according to reports, some ultra wealthy folks like Elon Musk feel compelled to pass on their genetics to as many children as possible. They are the pronatalist. Well,
shout out to Nick Cannon, who's listening in right now.
Yeah, of course, clearly he is. So let's see. I'll just do the first sentence here. So the world's population just exceeded 8 billion people, and is expected to surpass 11 billion by the end of the century. I just want to pause in that sentence right there because I always find it interesting when people are like, "Well, we have to have more people. We have to." It's like, look, we just hit 8 billion, and we kind of feel like that's enough for now. Like, do we need to have 11 billion? Why can't we just chill at 8? Like,
but can I point out that 8 billion, it's not enough of their demographic without getting specific to what that demographic is. I am sure in this country, we only have 38 million people in the entire country of Canada. I'm pretty sure that some people, well, actually, I know some people, like, we don't have enough people. We don't have enough new people.
Yeah.
Being born here, right? So, anyway.
Yeah. All right. So what this means is demand for everything from water to land to trees to oil will increase proportionately, which proportionately may not be true because there's always technology. Again, this is like the people who say, look, the future could be better because of technology.
Right.
So who knows? So placing an added strain on resources, unless advancements in technology, okay, thanks, learn to read, Cody, can find solutions to these growing demands. Again, this is all off the fly. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. As the world's population grows, it's interesting that some just don't think it's growing in the right places, while many are focusing on what it will take to ensure there is enough for everyone everywhere as we move toward the future world with 8 billion occupants. I was surprised to learn 11 billion participants. I was surprised to learn that there are also those who are part of the quote unquote pronatalist movement who advocate for a policy of practice of encouraging people to have children, according to Merriam-Webster. So this person just discovered the term and wrote a whole article on it, I guess. Let's see. I see the words Elon Musk and Jeffrey Epstein in this article, so that might be very interesting to see how these are.
Wait. Can we go back? What?
Yeah. Okay.
Holy crap. Okay. I want to. Okay. Another of the well-knowns in the natalist movement. This is new to me. Okay. So another of the well-known. Oh, sorry, people. And another of the well-knowns with natalist movement sympathies was now deceased epic sexual abuser Jeffrey Epstein, who allegedly schemed to impregnate 20 women at a time on his New Mexico ranch. What?
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Like, okay. Good Lord.
So that's a part of pronatalism that you don't really think about. Like you think of like the invisible hand of like, encouraging people to have kids. You kind of forget about the people who are literally like actively trying to do that, like on the sly, off the cuff.
In ways like this.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up.
What?
Yeah.
So for some reason, again, the polygamous colonies come to mind. Warren Jeffs, those. No. This is a problem. Okay. I did not know that. That's insane.
Yeah. The more you know.
All right. Well, we have, I don't know how long we want to make this.
Yeah, I don't want to go too long. Let's try to blow through the next ones real quick and see what comes out of it. So, bride divides internet after only allowing some children at a wedding. I did take a little quick sneak peek at this one. So basically, this bride has children, and they were the only children allowed to come to the wedding, and that made people who had children that couldn't bring their kids angry. And so, of course, they go to Reddit to discuss that topic. And
wait, the bride brought her own children?
Yeah, her kids were in the wedding. So, she's a 23-year-old bride, and she has 2 girls, 7 and 3, and a younger brother that's 9. But none of the cousins were invited. So I guess they're just talking about the how it's unfair. So, okay.
That's not a child-free wedding. I'm sorry.
It's
There's
not.
kids there. That's not a child wedding.
So we decided on this is a quote. We decided on a child-free wedding because we don't want kids running around, but we still decided to have our own as part of an important day, is what she wrote. So yeah, that would be like child hyphen free or even child space free. I wouldn't even call it child free, but if they're going
No,
to,
that
do
no.
not put that together because it's definitely not child-free wedding. Anyway, so what I did find is weddings are like all of the rage of topics right now. So this is my cousin fumed that she couldn't bring her kids to my wedding, so I kicked her out of the wedding, I guess. So the bride brought her kids along to the special day, but banned her. Oh, this is the same story. Never mind. Mirror, come on
Cody,
now.
did you have kids at your wedding?
We only had a few. What we did is we had a very small ceremony where we had close family and friends and nephews and nieces. Like
Okay.
that was it. All the other kids were like at like the party section
The
that we went
reception?
to afterwards. So the actual
Okay.
ceremony had like 4 kids in it.
Okay.
So what not child free, but
Yeah.
it is fine. Did a kid cry? Yes. So this one is the groom didn't allow his brother's kids to attend his child-free wedding, and with a hyphen. And now the parents are livid. And this person says, "Tell me what you think of the situation." All right,
Okay.
Jen, what did people tell you?
My brother told me this might cause a rift in our relationship. So did he invite other kids? Or maybe his brother has terrible kids. I don't know.
So
I
this
mean,
person is
wow.
it says I checked the IATA subreddit, which stands for "Am I the something hole?"
A-hole.
Pretty regularly, and so that's a lot of these types of articles come out of Reddit, of course. So anyway, let's just see what this says. My fiance, female, and I, male, are getting married. We decided wedding's going to be child free. No hate towards children. Just keep it more organized and contained.
I think the
That
biggest
sounds
thing
simple
is,
enough.
yeah, if they're excluding some kids, I don't know, it's
Yeah.
tricky, but
So
brothers
they go on to
close.
say, my brother, and he's calling him Chris, male, and his wife, female. Okay. I guess that makes sense. Have a 3-year-old son who everyone calls Miracle, in quotes, or Rainbow Baby, also in quotes. He came after several failed pregnancies that lasted for years. So when they found out that my nephew was included in the no children rule, they tried to convince me to make an exception for him. Chris told me his son is a miracle baby and his presence at the wedding would bring a blessing to me and my fiance. I refused and said no, and that the wedding is child free. Despite that, his wife kept sending my fiance pics of my nephew when he was months old, and I told them no and to stop. I'm just gonna scroll because I don't think that's gonna change anything with the story. So I
Okay.
guess
So what I said earlier in the way at the beginning about people piling on things to do with their kids as a way to convince something, like this was with the lady who wanted Christmas off. This is way worse because it's just like, oh, miracle baby bringing blessings. It's just, this is, to me, is an entitlement thing. The way it's presented to me is entitlement.
Yeah. And so
I don't like that. I don't like when the children are used in this situation
as leverage or a tool to
Yeah.
get what the parent wants,
I
basically.
don't like
Yeah.
that. It's unfair to the kid. It's unfair to, I don't know. It goes back to, again, children being used as social capital or
Well,
currency. Sorry, or
like
both.
if the child were able to have like a full on conversation, and it's like the
Right.
child's being taken to a place where the child isn't wanted. How's the child feel about being, and
Right.
not unwanted out of like spite, but it's like you'd be like the only kid there, and I don't know, whatever. But so
I
just
don't
to
like this.
wrap up the little topic here, it says so my fiance saw the whole thing and thought that it was funny, but my parents and Chris are livid beyond measure. They're telling everyone about the amount of disrespect and mockery I had displayed towards them, and I'm being told to quote unquote fix it now. So
I would say none of you guys are invited to the
yeah,
wedding.
we're eloping at the courthouse.
Oh, that's awful.
There you go. Okay, so Board Panda article, it says you almost always get forced to work when everyone else gets time off. This is 30 women get honest about the toughest and best part of not having kids. If it's 30 people, yeah, this is a long
We should
there's
almost
no
save
way
that
I
for
can
next
go through
week.
this. Yeah, we might just dive into this later. So
Next week.
interesting. All right, so let's keep going. This is from BuzzFeed.com.
Oh, this is one I really wanted to discuss. It'll fall. Okay, but
Okay. So child-free adults share what their lives look like as they've gotten older, and it's brutally honest.
can we
And
end that on a cliffhanger?
dun,
Tune
dun,
in next week when
dun.
we discuss an episode.
We can, yeah. I mean, there's
Because this is something that's really fascinating because not enough people share what it's like to age child free.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're only middle age. I don't know if you can consider 40s middle age.
40's a new 20.
Exactly.
I guess that's what the kids say.
But
Or
okay.
by kids I mean old people like us. So
Um,
anyway, so that yeah, great place
okay.
to end. That ends t.w.i.c This Week in Child Free with Cody and
LeNora.
there we go.
This is our
All right.
first try of this. So
Yeah, we're just dipping
good.
our toes in. So if you have ideas, thoughts, if you see an article you'd like us to look at, take a dive into, send it to us at childfreemedia@gmail.com, childfreemedia@gmail.com, and we'll consider taking a look at it. And in the future, we might relook. I don't know. Is it more fun to watch our blind review on this, or do you want
I
us to
kind of like
actually
going in
figure it out?
blindly. I
It
think
is kind of fun.
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. I mean, we'll know after we do a few of these. We'll know, we'll know if it's working.
We'll figure
or
it
not,
out. People will tell us. They'll be like,
yeah,
"You guys are
exactly.
terrible. Please read this in advance." Cody, please learn to read. And also,
I was gonna say, did you? I remember in school and say, like, look at the sentence as a whole as you're reading. Look at the words in front of you.
yeah,
That's fine.
well, I just got excited seeing some of the topics. It's like, oh, I have
Yeah.
a thought in my head and I have to discuss it right now.
That's
And
cool.
But anyway, so
I kind of like going in blindly personally, but
yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah, let us know for sure in the comments. So we got V jumping in here.
Yeah, this is well, actually all of our comments are really good.
So anyway, just thanks to us. Yep, and you're welcome, and thanks to everyone for tuning in. We'll just wrap things up here. LeNora, do you have anything to add in closing?
No. Again, you can reach us. Oh, check us out at childfreemedia.com. And this will be available in podcast form if you're listening on the podcast. Thank you. Replays available. Oh, last minute question. Are you antinatalist? Personally, I am not. No. I'm pro-choice.
I am neither, but I'm also not a pro-natalist. I guess what's the indifferent natalist? Indie natalist?
Ooh,
Can we
that's
just
a good
make
question.
one up?
See, I'm pro-choice. People can
Yeah.
choose what they want to do. I've chosen not to have children. I'm not antinatalist. I understand and appreciate some of the ideas presented, but that's a really good question. We have to figure that out.
We did do a segment on it in the Child-Free convention, so
right,
that's
yes,
available for view on
Indie
our
in what? Yeah,
I just said indie natalist.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe go viral with it. Go for it, Jay. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the questions, everyone that jumped in, and yeah, enjoy it. And it's called t.w.i.c This Week in Child Free. It doesn't mean we're going to necessarily do it every week, but we might
be back next week. Yeah.
If it becomes super popular, who knows? But we'll dive back in later and bring up some more fun topics and have some fun with it. So yeah.
All right. We'll catch you guys later.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.